What is up? For those of you joining in for the first time, let me explain what's going on. In the current state of Smash Ultimate, there are quite a few characters that players aren't very fond of. But instead of learning counterplay, so many players are quick to jump on the bandwagon of complaining about how broken those characters are. Instead of feeding into this mentality, I've always taken it upon myself to research and present counterplay to my own character's player base. This has led to me writing documents that are literally thousands of words long and producing in-depth video guides on how to beat multiple characters. But since my content is very much catered towards Greninja players, I recently had the idea of branching out to Smash Ultimate's community as a whole. And since everyone at my locals loves to complain, this is when I had the perfect idea. What if I snuck everyone in my college Smash scene into a lecture hall after hours and gave a presentation on how to beat some of the most frustrating characters in the game? And since everyone loved the anti-Snake and anti-Steve lectures we did in the past, here I am after popular demand with another character whose name just so happens to start with the letter S. After collaborating with my scene's local Sonic player on a PowerPoint, this is the presentation that we gave on how to beat Sonic. And as always, there's a Kahoot at the end if you want to test your knowledge, and you can find all of our references in the description below. Wow, Miss Nelson from the 4th grade would be proud. Anyways, here's my presentation. I hope I get an A+ because I stayed after school in the library to work on it. Okay, thanks, bye. Welcome everyone to the How to Beat Sonic lecture. This has been in the works for a little while. For those of us joining on stream, we are actually in a lecture hall as always. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the How to Beat Sonic lecture. As with any matchup, there are 4 things that we are gonna consider today, which are neutral, advantage state, disadvantage, and stage select against Sonic. So let's start with neutral. My question for you all, what is Sonic's most favorite button in the world? B. Yeah. It's the B button. He loves to side B or down B 24/7. But the question is, what is the difference between spin dash and spin charge? I'm not gonna lie, there's barely any of a difference. Like, there's a lot of things on this table that you can see, but if I'm honest, it's really more for the Sonic player's usage of the move rather than your counterplay towards it. But with that said, there is a tell. And that tell is whenever Sonic charges a spin, does he move slightly backwards or does he stay in place? If he moves slightly backwards, that is spin dash, whereas if he stays in place, that is spin charge. But if I'm honest, it's not the most important thing in the world to know because a lot of the counterplay between those two moves does tend to overlap. But the things that you should know whenever you're fighting Sonic are that spin dash is a held input, whereas spin charge is a mashed input. Spin dash has invincibility on startup frames 1 through 6, whereas spin charge does not. A non-full charge spin dash has a hop upon the release, whereas the spin charge does not have a hop. And spin dash is a single hit, whereas spin charge is a multi-hit. Now the question is, why would he use spin charge over spin dash when it seems objectively worse? Spin charge is a lot more rewarding and easier to combo out of for Sonic. So that's why he would use spin charge over spin dash. But again, a lot of the counterplay to these two moves does tend to overlap. So it's not the most important thing in the world to know. I forgot my water bottle and I asked Drew to get me one. And he came back with this. I just drank 3/4 of a cup of water.
The anti-thirst lecture.
The anti-thirst lecture. The best way to deal with spin dash is to prevent it from happening and not give Sonic free hits. Sonic is an insane whiff punisher with spin dash, and the reason for that is because whenever he charges a spin, he can just release the B button and he gets a frame 1 move that can whiff punish you. So what this means is you never want to whiff an attack directly in front of Sonic, and you never want to roll in against his spin dash, because whiffing an attack, he's just reacting to you landing in front of him. He releases the B button, frame 1, and now you're getting comboed by Sonic. If you roll in, suddenly he gets the best rewarding hitbox of spin dash and can start to come into a back air, and that can let him kill, where killing for Sonic normally, if you don't give him his right moves, can be a bit of a pain. What people don't realize is that charging for Sonic is a bit of a commitment. It can be released on frame 1, but spin dash isn't able to be released until frame 17, and spin charge isn't able to be released until frame 15. On top of that, the problem with spins is that spins cannot be easily canceled. And that is because whenever Sonic starts charging his spin, he can't go into shield. You think of Samus, you think of Wii Fit, you think of all of these characters that have a projectile that they can charge with the B button and cancel with shield. Sonic is not one of these, which means that whenever he's using spin, he essentially has to commit to that spin. What this means is that if you approach against that spin while he's in the startup, you can hit him out of the move and get your opening there. So the easiest way to do this is to pay attention to patterns and positions that he likes to spin. Most notably is the corner. The problem with spins is that Sonic often sacrifices a ton of stage to do so, and the corner is a very common position for him to play out of. So if you recognize his patterns in the corner, now you can start to approach and intercept his startup at spins, because he cannot dash back from this position. Question?
If Sonic's spin dash isn't fully charged, does he not get the invincibility frames?
He always gets invincibility out of spin dash unless it's used in the air. There's avoiding spins, which is as simple as not whiffing in front of Sonic, but there's also intercepting spins. The problem with spins is that they are negatively disjointed. You might see that model up there and say, okay, Sonic is that blue ball, the red is the hitbox, and I hit that. No, that entire gray area around him, that is Sonic's hurtbox, which means that a lot of your attacks, even if you don't have a disjoint, are able to consistently hit Sonic out of his spin dash. So what makes an attack good at hitting Sonic out of spins? There are 3 things that you want to look for. You want to look for attacks that last a long time, that have lingering hitboxes, a disjointed hitbox, and have low landing lag. And if you have all 3, that is amazing. The reason that long-lasting hitboxes are so great is because it covers more space, and the timing to cover Sonic's spin whenever he goes into you is a lot more lenient compared to if your attack's only out for 1 frame, you have to pretty much guess when he's going to spin into you. And if you're using an aerial by doing this, not fast falling gives you more active frames with that aerial to hit Sonic. A disjointed hitbox is good because it covers more area. So something like a Lucina forward tilt, it doesn't linger for the longest time, but because it covers more space without having Lucina exposed, that means that there might be 3 frames where Sonic is in a position to be hit, as opposed to something like Captain Falcon's jab, it might only be 1 frame. Low landing lag. This is awesome because if Sonic whiffs this spin, or if he doesn't time the spin properly, you can go into shield. And we're going to talk about it. We think of shield as not the best option because you're locked up. Against Sonic, shielding is pretty damn solid. Whenever you're approaching with your aerials, it's important to not approach in the traditional sense. A lot of people think Sonic is charging spin dash, let me jump into him with an approaching nair. Do not do that. As Max asked me earlier, Sonic has invincibility frames 1 through 6 whenever he releases spin dash, and that can go through your aerials to hit you. So what you're doing is you're intercepting his spins with aerials. You're not challenging the startup of his spins with aerials unless you're in a position to do so on that 17/15 frame startup. So what this essentially does is it forces Sonic to anticipate the timing of your aerials, which then conditions the release timing of his spins. So what this means is that if you're playing against spins with the proper counterplay, with the proper move, it essentially becomes a 50-50 interaction. A lot of people think of spins as an impressive tool in neutral. It's really not that if you're using the proper counterplay. As you can see by this diagram here, if Greninja anticipates a spin from Sonic, he can time an air and stuff him out. But what this leads to happening is Sonic anticipating the timing of the nair and then stuffing out Greninja's landing with a spin with proper timing. But then you say, okay, he's going to expect this nair at this time, and the cycle refreshes. You can do this with Peach. You can do this with Cloud. You can do this with Incineroar. So many characters have the button, if that makes sense. So as Greninja, for me, it's Nair, which is awesome. Find out what it is for your character. Now, adding to that a little bit more, if you don't like the situation that's playing out with spins, say you're a little bit too close and you don't trust swinging with an aerial, empty landing is awesome because from here you can go into shield, so that way you bait Sonic into releasing a spin dash. You can spot dodge, so that way he spins past you and you have more frames to chase him compared to just shield. You can empty land into a counter, so that way you get a very strong hit on him. Or you can dash attack to clank with the spin. So let's talk about clanking with spins. Now, there's a bit of confusion about how clanks happen in Smash Ultimate, and I'm going to clarify some of these right now. Airborne characters in Smash Ultimate are not able to clank. If you're in the air at all, you will never clank with an attack. Clanking is a little bit of a weird term. What I mean by clank is both characters hit their attacks on the same frame, and then they go into that bit of a rebound animation. Whenever you're in the air, you can hit projectiles or grounded attacks at times, but you will not enter that rebound animation in the air. So Sonic's spin jump and your aerials will never clank. And whenever you do clank with an attack, be it two grounded moves, it results in even frame advantage between the person that clanks and the person that attacks. So both of them have even frame advantage essentially. And that right there is Sonic's aerial spin hitbox. So this isn't the best thing in the world at avoiding clanks, because a lot of the time, the way that the game checks for clanks is it looks for two overlapping hitboxes. His hitbox, again, is that gray area, and it's massive. So if Sonic's in the air, you can go ahead and use a lot of your moves to catch him while he's in the air. Now, the question is, what makes a move good for clanking? It kind of goes back to the aerials, where long-lasting hitboxes are awesome, disjointed hitboxes are awesome, and low landing lag / end lag can be useful. But adding to that a tiny bit, held A jabs are really solid. There are certain characters in the game like Snake, Mithra, and Captain Falcon where they hold A and they jab over and over again. And this has a pretty solid chance of intercepting Sonic's spin and forcing a clank. As for projectiles, we're going to talk about this a bit more, but they are cracked. Question over here.
So if I like hold like a rapid like Mithra A jab, is there a chance of like the Sonic like jumping over and hitting from the top, or?
Yes, there's counterplay to it. Like he can jump into a homing attack against it, but he's not gonna jump and then hit you, I don't believe.
Okay. It's like the biggest thing I'm confused about is just like, I know he has like two different ones, the side B and the down B. If he starts either of them, I know he can either go straight with it or like jump with it.
Right.
If he jumps over stuff, can he just come back down on you?
No, Sonic can only jump at one angle whenever he uses spin. And the only way that he can cancel that spin in the air is with an aerial or a double jump or an attack essentially. So he has to commit to an action outside of spin, so he can't maintain that spin status and come down. All right, so whenever you clank with Sonic, always pay attention to his habit after the clank, because a lot of them have a habit of spot dodging, of shielding, or so on. If you catch on to what he likes to do after a spin, if he spot dodges, you can just charge forward smash and kill him at 60, get a lead on Sonic. So let's talk about some of his options post-clank. Now, shield is a very decent option for Sonic. It's honestly his safest way to reset to neutral, because a lot of characters won't grab out of a clank. That's slow and it loses 2 attacks, and a lot of grabs don't have the best reward. Now, Sonic has relatively weak out of shield options, so a lot of the time this just leads to a reset neutral interaction, or you being able to pressure his out of shield option accordingly. As for his jab, this is his fastest grounded move on frame 3, and if you go into shield, he can mix up between jab 1-2, run away, or go for jab 1-2-3, and that'll cover something like spot dodges out of a clank. But if he does commit to that jab 3, that is minus 26. That is enough for you to drop shield and forward smash him out. And this is something that I like to do. A little bit of a cheat code is, if you look at the hitbox of Sonic's jab, this is really high up. A lot of characters can down tilt to hitbox shift underneath the jab. Someone like Greninja, someone like Peach. And from there, even though the attack that you're using is slower than Sonic's jab, you'll be able to go under the attack and hit Sonic for a heavy punish. Lastly, we have forward tilt, which is Sonic's kill move at high percents. At mid percents, it can lead into a tech chase, and it covers more space than jab. So there are certain positions where his jab won't reach you because you clank with a disjointed attack or something with good spacing. That forward tilt can start to reach you. Now, the thing about that forward tilt is that the startup is on frame 6, and the second hit is on frame 8. So if you're at a distance and you have a move that's frame 7 or faster, you can just hit Sonic out of his forward tilt startup. And if you shield it, it's minus 20. That's pretty bad. You can drop shield into dash attack a lot of the time. So I mentioned projectiles being really solid whenever you clank against Sonic. Talking about that a little bit more. Projectiles are awesome because it's a pretty non-committal way to pressure the startup of Sonic's spin. Because, again, Sonic isn't able to cancel his spin with shield. So if you see him start to spin, tossing a projectile is a pretty good way to force him to stop. And that means more chip damage against Sonic. Sonic, believe it or not, is the 19th lightest character in the game. So you can find kills decently early against him. And getting chip damage whenever this is a character that enjoys timing you out, that can help out a lot in the matchup. And because he's getting chipped by projectiles, that can condition him to spin a lot less. Now, whenever projectiles clank with spins, the projectile user often has frame advantage because unlike other clanks, the projectile isn't physically attached to their body. So if you toss out Greninja Water Shuriken, I play Greninja, so I'm going to use a lot of examples from him. If you toss out a Water Shuriken against a fully charged spin, you can guarantee run up to Sonic and get a dash attack. Because fully charged spins deal more damage, and the way that the game calculates how much clank lag you have is it adds up the attack that starts the clank and the attack that's receiving the clank. So because spin dash, the full charge does a decent bit of damage, you can go into Sonic with a dash attack and confirm off of it. Now, going to spin charge, that's not quite the case because again, this is a multi-hit which does very little damage, which means that Sonic, after he gets clanked, is actionable pretty early. So this is an opportunity for you to pay attention to his habits after clank. Does he like to shield? Does he like to dash back? Does he like to jump? That's your opportunity to pay attention in the matchup and punish in future interactions. And if you have a transcendent projectile like Wolf Blaster, you'll just beat spin. So good job. And Sonic's counterplay to projectiles really comes in the form of homing attack. And those of you that know a tiny bit about Sonic, homing attack is a big risk if he misses it. So let's talk about that a bit more. So homing is an overstatement. I'm pretty sure we've seen clips of like Sonic's SDing at 0 multiple times in bracket. The problem with homing attack is that it locks onto the opponent whenever it's released, but if the opponent moves, the lock on doesn't move with it. So what this means is that Sonic is shooting where you were instead of where you are. And this can make it inconsistent off stage. It can make it inconsistent if you're dashing. It can make it inconsistent if you're in the air. But if you're standing underneath a platform, there's a good chance that it'll lock onto you and the platform will be in between you and the attack, causing Sonic to bounce off of that platform. Just turtling under a platform can sometimes be a pretty solid option against Sonic. Now, it doesn't lock onto opponents that are invincible or out of range. So if you spot dodge homing attack with proper timing, Sonic will just bounce off of the ground. And that is awesome for you. But the thing is, he can charge homing attack to read your spot dodge. So you spot dodge, he charges homing attack more, you're in spot dodge end lag, then he can hit you. The key to this is to reflect on the fact that it doesn't lock onto you when you're out of range. So instead of spot dodging in certain positions, if you roll backwards, you're not in homing attack range. So you have the invincibility on frame 3 or 4 of your roll, and you're out of attack range. That means that he only has a 2-frame window to hit you with homing attack, and people don't recognize this. Rolling backwards against homing attack is often a lot better than spot dodging. The only caveat that I will say is that if he's charging homing attack point blank, rolling backwards won't get you out of the range of it. And if you're somewhere like near ledge and you can't gain distance out of your roll, it can still hit you and it doesn't have as many invincibility frames as spot dodge has. So rolling backwards, very solid option that's underlooked. Now, Sonic has very high end lag if he whiffs a homing attack on stage. It's something ridiculous like 72 frames. Every character in the game pretty much can spot dodge homing attack, see Sonic whiff, run up to Sonic, and forward smash. So if you're playing against homing attack properly, that is a free punish for you. Now, the one caveat is a kind of niche interaction where Sonic bounces off of the edge of a platform or off the edge of the stage. If he doesn't land on a surface after that homing attack, what happens is he doesn't enter the landing lag portion of it, and he's actionable a lot sooner. So in this situation, pay attention to habits like air dodge, directional air dodge, jump, whatever. But on stage, you should never be dropping a punish against homing attack. And additionally, if you don't want to play that game of chicken with your spot dodge, homing attack is unsafe on shield, and most rising aerials in the game are able to punish him out of shield. And if you don't have the opportunity to punish him with a rising aerial, he will often buffer an air dodge or spring to get out of that situation. So we talked about intercepting spins. Now let's talk about mitigating them. So if you play a character with a high jump, you can just jump over Sonic a lot of the time. And the problem for Sonic is that this is a pretty big commitment for him to punish with fairly limited reward because, as Suhas asked me, Sonic can only spin jump at one angle. It's not like where you can dash in and jump straight up or dash in, jump backwards. Sonic will always go at that 45-degree angle whenever he spin jumps. And what this does is it essentially turns the execution into a 50-50 on, is he going to spin into you on the ground or is he going to spin into you in the air? And guessing wrong will put Sonic in the corner for you to capitalize on him. As you can see by this chart here, if Greninja reacts to Sonic's spin, he can just full hop over Sonic, versus if Sonic reacts to an air, Greninja just shields the spin. This mitigates spin so much by just knowing your flowchart to not have to interact with Sonic. This is super solid whenever you have a lead or whenever you don't want to deal with the option. Standing on a platform is also great at mitigating spins because, again, Sonic can only spin jump at one angle. And say your character doesn't have the highest jump in the game. Having that platform to stand on suddenly boosts your full hop height. So this is, again, a commitment for Sonic to punish. If you shield that jump spin, Sonic is now in the corner. You also don't have to enter jump squat or rise with your aerial in order to do it. So if you have a nice walling aerial, such as a lingering snake back air or a Greninja nair, you don't have to go through the startup of your short hop. You can just drop down and input that hitbox. And again, your jump gets boosted because you're on that platform. Now, whenever you're using mitigation to counterplay against spin, make sure to react to spins instead of anticipating them. This allows you to avoid things like Sonic catching you or jump with an up air into spring up air to kill you, or seeing you on a platform and running into you with an up smash. React and spins become a lot less threatening. Now, let's talk about shielding spins. So spin is positive on shield, and it is almost impossible to get a guaranteed punish on it. The reason that it's positive on shield is because Sonic can choose to cancel the initial spin hitbox with a jump. Now, this is often a matter of repositioning rather than direct counterplay. So because you don't get a guaranteed punish out of shield, your shield isn't going to be your solution to spin dash. It's mainly going to come up whenever you whiff an intercepted aerial, like that Greninja nair example I mentioned, or whenever you tomahawk empty land to reset the situation. Whenever you do shield spin, always hold it for a second longer because whenever Sonic jumps, that's a second hitbox that is able to catch you dropping shield early. You might think, you know, he's spinning and I'm not getting the most off of me shielding. There is the invisible punish. What I mean by the invisible punish is repositioning into a more favorable situation. If Sonic spins into you whenever you're near the corner or on the battlefield platform, suddenly he's sacrificing stage control and he's in the corner. You can set up to intercept the spin, pressure his corner habits, pressure the startup of a spin. Always recognize his patterns after you shield his spin. Now, this leads us to the spin RPS. RPS means rock, paper, scissors. Now, this goes a lot further beyond not starting PS2 whenever you're playing a set. Basically, Sonic has the following options in this RPS scenario. He can jump away, he can homing attack, he can delay a homing attack, he can down air, he can spring, or he can stop the spin and jab. Now, the responses that you have to spin does have overlap between characters, but there are some more character-specific options in the spin RPS. Every character in the game is able to hold shield against spin. Every character is able to spot dodge after a spin hits their shield. They can roll in after spin hitting their shield. Now, as for forward air or back air, this is a little bit character dependent of an outcome. It depends on the frame that your forward air or back air comes out, and it also depends on your character's airspeed. If Sonic jumps away and you're playing a character like Greninja that has solid airspeed and a decently fast aerial and back air, that can hit him jumping away. If you're playing Incineroar, you are not catching Sonic. As for the out of shield options, this can depend on your character as well. It depends on how fast your out of shield option is. Does it go straight up like Hero, or does it cover a wide range like Sheik? This is mainly going to be your up smash whenever you're playing the spin tree. So with all of those options in mind, this is the spin tree. So if you're going to counterplay Sonic out of shield, I've labbed this by hand. These are all the possible outcomes of the scenario. The ones that depend on your character are Sonic jumping away, like I mentioned, and your out of shield option. So if Sonic uses down air, it can depend on the frame of your out of shield option. I play Greninja that'll often catch my startup on my up smash, But if you play a character with a faster up smash like Banjo, that's awesome. That'll work. If Sonic stop jabs, if your up smash goes straight up like Hero, you're not going to reach him. If you swoop like a character like Greninja, you can hit him on his startup. Covering these options a little bit more in detail from Sonic's POV, whenever Sonic jumps away, this requires a direct commitment to punish, and a lot of characters like Incineroar are just not able to reach Sonic in time. But what this ends up doing is it resets neutral rather than progressing the game state and cost Sonic stage control. So now you can apply corner pressure. Turning around before shielding, depending on your character, sometimes your forward air is stronger than your back air. So what you can do is Tomahawk Empty Land into a turnaround shield to bait that spin. Sonic jumps away, and now you can punish him heavier. So this is a clip here of me doing that against Sonic. He spins. My backer doesn't kill at this %. So what I do is I turn around, I shield, and then I get my forward air out of shield. That's something that most characters are able to do. Now, continuing the RPS a little bit more, we have homing attack. There's a difference between instant homing attacks and delayed homing attacks. Instant homing attacks are able to catch the startup of forward airs and backers out of shield to cover him jumping and up smash. So this is kind of his like press one more button move. The problem with this is that if you hold shield, you can punish him with rising aerials. And if you spot dodge or roll, you are able to heavily punish Sonic. Delayed homing attack is kind of a middle ground. These two options work hand in hand. Whereas, you know, spot dodging is awesome against instant homing attack. Delayed homing attack does cover that spot dodging roll. And it can poke shields, but if you angle up your shield, it can help to prevent this. This leads to Sonic charging his homing attack forever, and eventually that does become a shield breaker move. That's what makes holding shield not a guaranteed answer to the move, but if you're not relying purely on shield for counterplay, your shield will generally be pretty solidly healthy, and you'll avoid being homing attack shield broken unless Sonic charges homing attack all the way, in which case spot dodge and you won't get killed. It does whiff against forward air or back air out of shield. Like we mentioned, homing is an overstatement, and this means that it'll just reset neutral while putting Sonic further away from you. But it is also unsafe on shield, so you can hit it with rising aerials, and up smashes during the startup are able to sweet spot and kill. If you play Hero, even though that up smash hitbox is horrendous, you can crit up smash and kill Sonic at 50. If you play Donkey Kong, you can up smash and kill him at 80 or so. If you recognize that Sonic is using delayed homing attack, this is a very rewarding option to do in this scenario. As for down air, this allows Sonic to cancel spins without giving up the stage, but its startup can lose to out of shield options unless your out of shield options are ass like Greninja's. He can hit you on your startup. And if it does hit your shield, it's -17. Pretty much every character in the game has a decent punish against it. As for spring, it does kind of work similar to homing attack in that it catches the startup of out of shield options, but what Sonic is really getting out of this is his ability to reposition after the spin dash. Holding shield is awesome in this scenario because Sonic, one of his biggest weaknesses is landing, and people don't recognize the commitment that spring is. Whenever Sonic springs, he cannot double jump and he cannot use special moves. That is half of his kit gone by just pressing uppy. And that makes juggling him so much easier, especially when you consider one of his worst movement attributes is his bottom 20 air acceleration. He cannot turn in the air, so juggling Sonic is super solid. Now, stop jab is a little bit of a weird option. This is more common out of spin charge as opposed to spin dash because spin dash will often just go through the opponent. This allows Sonic to cancel spins without giving up the stage. It can cover you spot dodging, but it only works with less charged spins because if he charges it fully, he'll just go through your shield. It is minus on shield whenever he stops that spin, so that's when you can find your out of shield option against it potentially. So if you have an up smash, that can kind of cover multiple grounds of him, you know, homing attacking or doing stop jab. If you commit to that jab 3, it's -27, and if you roll in, a lot of characters are able to punish his jab with a dash attack. So, the takeaway, if you don't know the RPS, just shield. Shielding is so awesome. As you can see, there were a lot of unfavorable interactions over here between spot dodge, roll, forward air, or out of shield option. If you shield, all of your interactions are at least neutral. If he jumps away, you get stage and you can pressure Sonic out of the corner. If he instant homing attacks, that's unsafe on shield. If he goes for a delayed homing attack, you're kind of playing a game of chicken between shield breaking, but if you don't have an unhealthy shield, you're fine. If he goes for down air, that's minus 17, you can get a punish. If he goes for spring, you get a juggle. If he goes for stop jab, that's minus 27. As annoying as spin dash might seem, shielding is a very solid answer to it, not only to mitigate the move, but to punish his option after the spin. Now, that is the bulk of spin dash. Are there any questions regarding spin dash before we go on to the rest of Sonic's neutral?
Can I get some spin tree like merch?
No, I do not have spin tree merch yet. We were thinking of like giving people t-shirts for the next Kahoot.
The Kahoot winner gets a spin tree.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I'm not a player, I'm a gamer. Players get chicks, I get bullied at school.
That's on a t-shirt. All right, so let's go on to Sonic's out of shield options. I mentioned this, they're kind of ass. So Sonic has frame 8 or later out of shield options. So he has forward air and up air on frame 8, nair on frame 9, and after that, the next fastest thing is jab or up smash on frame 14. He also has a shoulder grab, but that's frame 11. So there are a few problems with these. First of all, frame 8 isn't particularly amazing. In a game where Game & Watch exists, yeah, that's nothing. So again, it's decent startup. So a lot of characters are able to just land into shield. If you use safe pressure against shield, you'll be safe against Sonic. And additionally, a lot of characters will often low profile this moves. The exception is up air, which can be character dependent. If you play a character like DK, I'm sorry. But if you play anyone that's pretty much shorter than DK, a lot of the time you'll low profile these moves. There are taller characters like Captain Falcon that can also be clipped, but you also want to consider pancaking. It's not just does it hit you when you're standing up, it's after you use a move, characters have a landing animation that goes into the ground and shifts their hurt box, so that up air a lot of the time isn't able to hit them. And if you do get hit by up air 1, please stop panic shielding. So many characters will panic shield out of Sonic's up air. Up air 1 has set knockback, meaning that if you're at 999%, it sends you nowhere and it doesn't even put you into tumble. What this means is that if you're just expecting to maybe fall out of the move, you can up smash or down tilt or forward smash and hit Sonic out of his up air because of how inconsistent that multi-hit is. Going back to the weaknesses of all of his aerials, Sonic isn't able to act out of any of his short hop rising aerials, which means that he's forced to land, and that can allow you to position a dash attack or whiff punish his landing accordingly. And Nair specifically doesn't auto cancel, and it's 10 frames of landing lag, which is significant enough to be consistently whiff punished. As for his grab, it's on the slower side at frame 11, and it has pretty limited range. Just treat it like any grab in the game. Spacing is completely fine against it. His up smash is frame 14, and it also has limited range, but also it doesn't scoop from behind. That image right there is the initial hitbox of Sonic's up smash. If you cross up his shield, you're just not going to be hit by the move. It's a big commitment for him, and you can charge a forward smash against him. And Sonic is one of the easiest characters in the game to cross up with the dash attack, so you kind of get that I'm going past you, you grab in front of me, I'm just going to charge forward smash. You up smash in front of me, I'm just going to charge forward smash. You can bait him into using out of shield options very, very well. So if Sonic's not using shield, he's going to be relying on his movement. And honestly, it's pretty damn good. He has the 7th fastest walk speed in the game, the highest run speed in the game, the 4th fastest initial dash, 13th airspeed, 70th air acceleration, 33rd fall speed, 34th fast fall speed, and 18th jump height. So as you can see here, with the exception of fall speed and jump height, Sonic is like 85% plus awesome. His one weakness is air acceleration, which we will talk about in a bit here. So compared to Steve and Snake, he's a lot better. In other words, that's not ass. For the first time ever, we have a character that is not ass. Snake and Steve, those characters are bad, bro. So what does Sonic's movement mean? It means that Sonic is often going to be the character that dictates the pacing of the game. Having the high run speed that he does means that he can choose to approach or retreat out of a dash in a moment's notice. According to the game state, he gets to say, I want to be in your face, or I want to be over here. So what this means is you need to be patient and wait for the proper opening against Sonic. If you rush in and abandon your spin counterplay, he's going to run the hell over you because you're whiffing in his face 24/7. He's going to get up a stock, and then you know the vibes. Sonic can be anywhere on the stage at any given time, but do recognize that there are positions where his spacing is unfavorable. Most notably is when they're sacrificing stage control in the form of spins. If you recognize his patterns, you'll be able to capitalize off of the favorable positioning. Also recognize, like I mentioned, his hurtbox is so exposed. Anytime that Sonic is interacting with you, he's putting himself at the risk to be hit because he's negatively disjointed. So interacting with a spin in any way is always an opportunity for you to intercept Sonic and get a hit. Also recognize that he does have weak points to his movement. These are his awful air acceleration, which means that it's really tricky for him to set up landing aerials, and whenever you're juggling him, you can catch his landings so well. And while Spin Dash is super solid, Sonic's long and close range options, honestly, are kind of ass. So his long range is really just a matter of not interacting with you rather than progressing the game state. So while you will be timed out against Sonic, he'll at least have been interacting with you first to get to that point. And whenever you take spins out of the equation, again, his moveset is a little bit ass. Hot take, I know. But without spins, we're going to talk about why his options aren't the best. Starting with his aerials. Like I mentioned, oftentimes his rising aerials are low profiled, which means that he has to set it up by landing if he's not calling out a jump with an anti-air. So this means that you always know that he's going to land with the aerial, and that can allow you to whiff punish, that can allow you to parry. It's really simple to just not be in his face, and because his air excel is so bad, you know that he's approaching with that aerial because he can't change his drift to retreat with it. So what this essentially translates to is don't jump in against Sonic. He'll struggle to find a lot of his aerials if you're not giving him the jumps to anti-air. Most notably, these are his back air and up air. Back air is his main kill move at high percents. If he reads a jump with you, he's going to call you out with back air, and this is going to give him a kill. If you don't give him back air, I've seen people live up to like 220% against Sonic. It's really tricky for him to kill at those higher percents if you're not giving him this jump. As for up air, this is his main combo starter that can lead into platform extensions, spring up air and such. Just don't jump in predictably against Sonic, and these two moves aren't that bad to deal with. Question.
So I understand to be grounded, but what if Sonic runs up to me, gets rising up air into back air into up air into back air? I mean, I've seen it one time too many in training mode that's gotten me a little bit scared.
Yeah.
What are you worried about, or is that propaganda?
You may want to phone Majin Blue about that one.
What is with these conversions? What the fuck?
Sonic might be the new boss, yeah. Rising up or worse.
All right, anyways, that's a Majin Blue question, not a me question, sorry.
Okay, I'll send him a message.
Okay. So, again, out of all of Sonic's aerials, if he uses them out of a short hop, he's forced to land it, which means that you know where he's going to land, giving you a better whiff punish. There's at least 10 frames of landing lag on his nair, on his forward air, on his back air. Even on his up air if he doesn't auto-cancel it, which is very unlikely. But he is one of the most consistently whiff-punishable characters because of his significant landing lag and fairly lack of disjoints. I say fairly because fair, exists, but it's not the worst thing in the world to deal with compared to swordy aerials. Additionally, if you have out of shield options, pretty much everything is unsafe on shield. Nair is -5, which does work. But the way Sonic uses his Nair, he's often using the lingering hitbox, which is not -5 because it takes extra frames for him to land. It's not uncommon for his Nair to be -11. So keep that in mind. And everything else is at least -9, except for his auto-cancel up air, which does not necessarily happen when you're on the ground and he's landing with it. But there is one situation when you're ledge trapping, which is fairly common to happen, and we'll talk about it. Question.
By auto-cancel up, you mean the first hit, right?
Auto-cancel means that whenever you land with a move, instead of having the landing lag of the move, you have normal landing frames. So it goes from 10 frames of landing lag to 3. And this only happens whenever he rises with a short hop fast fall. If he falls with that up air, he won't be able to auto-cancel it.
Okay, so if you fast fall with the up air, is it the first, like the initial hit, the first hit? Because up air is 2 hits.
He can time it to be the first hit only, or he can time it to be both.
But does it matter? Does it add any? It doesn't matter.
No, he'll always have normal landing leg. All right, so this is where my hot take comes in. Sonic's grounded approaches are a little bit ass if it's not spin dash. So as for dash attack, it's solid because it covers a very large amount of space, but it's only the one hit and it doesn't kill. Unless you have underdog boost on, which did happen once. But it has very little kill power, very little reward on hit. You can short hop over Sonic and punish him because it's a pretty damn long move. And it's minus 38 on shield. That's more unsafe than most smash attacks. So it is able to cross up your shield, but because it's so laggy, you can react to which side Sonic is on, drop shield, and dash attack accordingly. So this move is not too amazing. As for his forward tilt, it does kill at high percents and lead to tech chases at mid percents, but it's minus 20 on shield, which means that you can drop shield down tilt, you can drop shield dash attack, some characters can forward smash. That's just how it goes. As for dash grab, this is his main answer to shield and neutral, but again, like, he has to read this, and if he reads it wrong, it has high end lag, so you can whiff punish it. And one thing that is nice about it is that this sets up for that up air, back air, up air, back air, up air, back air. But this essentially turns Sonic's like grounded approach game into a 50-50 between is he going to dash attack or is he going to dash grab. And if you play around it well, it's a 50-50 in neutral that is often more rewarding for you than it is for him because his reward on dash attack is so ass. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world to deal with. All right, cool. On that note, let's talk about advantage state. So comboing Sonic, it's not too bad. It can be a little bit annoying if you don't know what you're doing, but once you do know what you're doing, this is a big weakness of Sonic's. So his air dodge is very solid in that it is frame 2 as opposed to the common frame 3 air dodge, allowing him to avoid combos. But the answer to this a lot of the time is frame trapping. If you have something like Captain Falcon up air, Greninja forward air, you're able to cover his escape option if he doesn't air dodge, and if he does air dodge, he lands on the ground and you get a second hit. It's very solid. And because he loves using his frame 2 air dodge, you can recognize these patterns and punish him with a heavy move. Again, Sonic is the 19th lightest character in the game, so if you get a stock lead against Sonic, you're up and he has to approach you, which is huge. As for his directional air dodge, this covers a large distance, but the problem with it is that any character in the game can frame trap it. The problem with directional air dodge is that it resets your fall speed to 0 and it makes you float, which means that if you miss, he's forced to land and you can just hit the landing. There is a little bit of mix-up that he has between air dodging to a platform or going to ledge, and this is a situation where you want to pay attention to his patterns and then punish accordingly. But if you read it, it's a much heavier punish. As for Spring, this is kind of the mid-ground between air dodge to avoid combos and frame traps. It's invincible from frame 5 to 7, but the answer to it is to frame trap, because if you miss it, suddenly you're getting a juggle. And if you wait and you don't play a character that necessarily has the best frame traps, waiting allows you to cover both Sonic's landing in Spring and air dodge, and from there you just catch his landing. So Spring is mainly for repositioning purposes. Now, talking about the Spring combo breaker a tiny bit more, people don't realize it. Like I said earlier, Spring is a commitment. Whenever Sonic springs, he loses access to all of his special moves. He loses access to his double jump, and he has to land with bottom 20 air acceleration. This allows you to juggle the crap out of Sonic. Now, his options post-Spring are kind of ass. He can drift away, which is just a free juggle for you, or he can auto cancel with down air. Now, this is a little bit dependent on where he springs from. This only works if Sonic springs from his full hop height. So if he springs and then he down airs, you can react to it. The startup of down air, I believe, is 17 frames before he starts to travel. So you can react to his startup and then get into a position to punish it. This does auto cancel, but despite auto canceling, I'm honestly not too sure why this is. He still has 10 frames of landing lag as opposed to like the normal 3 or 5 frames that happen from landing. So the auto cancel reduces his landing lag more than zeroing it out. He can also down air into directional air dodge, but he can't act out of that down air unless he does that initial spring from the height of a top battlefield platform. And if you have something like a down tilt, what you can do is down tilt where he would land normally after that down air. And if he directional air dodges, because of how floaty it is, you just turn around and down tilt the other way. So you cover both options. You can charge a down smash, you can charge an up smash. It's essentially going from a combo to a juggle against Sonic where he has limited resources to land and you can extend your advantage state. As for juggling, again, he has a few weaknesses. He has awful air acceleration, bottom 20. He has a lack of disjointed hitboxes, and his aerials all have high landing lag, allowing you to continue the juggle and whiff punish. The best way, generally speaking, to catch Sonic's landings are to chase him from the ground. This allows you to frame trap his directional air dodge a lot better, and it makes all of his landing aerials more reactable. And you are a lot more flexible in the ground than you are in the air, because every character in the game's run speed is higher than their air speed. In Sonic's airspeed, I believe it's only Incineroar that is slower than it. So chasing from the ground gives you a lot more flexibility. Now, that's not to say that you can't intercept Sonic in the air. This is great if you have disjointed lingering hitboxes. Things like Cloud's up air, Peach's up air, and Ness's up air are awesome. And if he burns Spring, this keeps him from regaining his resources, and it just resets the juggle. But generally, you want to juggle from the ground unless his resources are limited and you have a particularly strong up air. As for his landing options, back air is what he's fishing for, essentially. This can allow him to reversal you if you're chasing him too close, but it has very high landing lag. It's his highest apart from down air, I believe. It's minus 13 on shield too, so kind of ass. And it's honestly not that bad to mitigate. So if you just chase Sonic from his front side, he can't connect that back air on you. So it's a matter of respecting the range. If he lets it rip, you just get a heavier punish. As for down air, this is kind of his scariest move. It can trade with up airs and kill off the top blast zone because it sends at this very sharp angle, as you can see here. So it's a matter of not chasing him too closely. And if he doesn't auto cancel, he has a good bit of landing lag. I think it's 21 frames, and you can punish that heavily. What else he can do? He can air dodge directionally at the last second, but again, this leads to you frame trapping him by using non-committal down tilts. He can spin charge, which massively boosts his air acceleration, but this can only be canceled by a jump. And remember, if he has spring, he can't, use any of his special moves. The spin hitbox is negatively disjointed. You can hit him out of it. He can homing attack, but if you're using grounded movement, moving quickly often causes it to whiff, especially if you play a faster character. Or you can spot dodge it or play the out of shield game for a heavier punish. Edge guarding spring. So it's generally best to hit Sonic after the spring comes out. The reason for this is because, again, spring has invincibility from frames 5 through 7, which means that its startup can often armor through your back air or whatever your move you're using to edge guard. But if you read him springing, you can align it for a heavier punish. I play Greninja, I'll thread in the airspace around Sonic, and then I'll double jump Shadow Sneak, and it'll kill at 50. It is very, very solid to read spring whenever you do have that read. And again, whenever Sonic is hit, he loses his double jump. If you hit him in the middle of his spring, he doesn't have a double jump anymore. That is very, very good to use because now Sonic has to spring high above the stage to recover and is depending on his directional air dodge. That allows you to back air him over and over. What I will say is that Sonic does gain height whenever he does this, so try to find your finisher move after that back air happens. So he can also B reverse past ledge with spring, and whenever he B reverses or is facing away from ledge, he doesn't snap to ledge. This allows him to go past the ledge and threaten people staying on stage with a back air. This can be punished by a lingering hitbox that you can use on stage. Shielding allows you to hold your ledge trap positioning, or you can whiff punish the back air's high landing lag afterwards. Now, something interesting about Sonic in particular is that his ledge hang is fucking amazing, and he doesn't get two frame like ever. I don't care if you have Banjo and Kazooie down tilt, the way that Sonic snaps to ledge, he's like underneath the stage, completely horizontal, and he'll low profile two framing moves. So if you don't have a strong move to two frame, that's an aerial, something like Olimar down air, Rob down air, Ivysaur down air, just holding the ledge to ledge trap is probably your best bet. So directional air dodge for Sonic. This is often forced. He is able to use it after spring, but because spring travels vertically rather than horizontally, he's often forced to go up with spring and then directional air dodge because he doesn't have a double jump anymore. Whenever Sonic uses his directional air dodge, this image here is a chart of every character in the game and how vulnerable they are whenever they directional air dodge to the ledge. Sonic is one of the handful of characters that is vulnerable for 5 frames as opposed to other characters that are not. The character, interesting fact, that is only vulnerable for 1 frame is King Dedede. And I guess Sakurai really hated Little Mac because he's the only character that's vulnerable for 6 frames. So this is in addition to a 2 frame. So a 2 frame against Sonic, if you're off stage, is essentially a 7 frame. So if you go off stage with something like Arsene down air or Rob down air, something that can hit him out, you are doing really well. And it's not the hardest thing to set up a ledge drop into a double jump back air to hit him out of it. It's a lot better to align an aerial rather than using a grounded move because of that 2 frame window. And oftentimes he'll air dodge in a position that doesn't quite go above the ledge. So going off stage and aligning that aerial is awesome. As for forward air, he is able to fight against people that are trying to edge guard him. Forward air is disjointed and it can challenge edge guards. But if he swings and you're out of the range of that forward air, you can punish his 30 frames of end lag afterwards. So it's often best to wait out this move instead of challenging it because of how fast it is and how quick the disjoint is, relatively speaking. As for homing attack, this is generally used whenever his spring to air dodge doesn't reach ledge. It goes straight down if Sonic doesn't have someone to lock onto, and that can cause the classic Sonic's SD. But something that people don't know is that you can rock croc the fuck out of Sonic. You can tech this homing attack to ledge and Wario waft him off stage. Any character can rock croc this homing attack from Sonic for a heavy punish. Finally, spin shot consumes Sonic's double jump off stage, and you can intercept it with something like a lingering back air to hit him back off stage, and now he doesn't have that jump as a resource. As for ledge trapping, this goes hand in hand with his 2 frame. Sonic's ledge hang is cracked. That right there, as you can see, the white circle that's on his head, that is where Sonic is vulnerable from. His fingers are completely fine. You can't hit his fingers. But his head is so low that most down tilts aren't able to punish his ledge stall. So what you want to do is focus on holding stage rather than using something like a committal down tilt that gives him an opportunity to get up attack or get off of ledge. If you use ledge trump back airs, because Sonics love to stall on ledge so much, you can first of all hit him immediately after he gets ledge trumped. And secondly, you can incorporate it into ledge play, where if you dash into ledge, he might roll. So you can dash into ledge, charge forward smash, punish his roll. His get up attack is one of the laggiest in the game, which is -27. Most characters can drop shield and forward smash this. As for his ledge drop mix-ups, he has forward air, which does have a solid disjoint. So be ready to punish the landing lag or end lag if you don't have a hitbox to challenge it. As for his up air, we mentioned that it is kind of cracked on shield. Up air is positive on shield in this position. So if he ledge drops into a double jump up air, not only will that hit your shield, it will also auto cancel, and he is able to act before you are. So he can ledge drop into double jump up air, spot dodge, and forward smash you for trying to get out of shield option. This also combos into back air, so up air, back air, upper back air, upper back air. The way you play around this is don't stand too close to the ledge, and that upper just will not hit you. He also has spin turnaround into back air, which can hit you pretty far off ledge, potentially kill you at high percent, and it auto cancels. But most of his ledge drop double jump mix-ups lose to lingering hitboxes. Something like a lingering nair like Link, a lingering back air like Greninja, that kind of stuff. So corner pressure. As I mentioned, you always want to capitalize on positions where Sonic is vulnerable, and one of the positions where he's most vulnerable, which happens at least 10 times a game, is when he's in the corner. Sonic has really lackluster corner relief for a few reasons. First of all, he has poor out of shield options, so if you hit his shield, you're not necessarily worried about him reversaling you. 2, his grounded moves are committal, so his dash attack out of the corner might just get him forward smashed and killed. 3, his jumps with his poor air acceleration become a lot more telegraphed, and now you can start a juggle. So what this means is that if you hold spacing, the corner is pretty much always in your favor. If you wait for Sonic's option and aren't the one to engage in the corner, you're really gonna mess with Sonic. Now, the one thing that Sonic does want in the corner is back throw, which is different from, I think, every other back throw in the game, in that Sonic travels with it, and this can start to kill. So don't give him back throw, and his corner pressure relief is really, really not the best. Again, this is a forced favorable interaction after spins. You might think that you don't have an answer to spin. Your answer to spin is that invisible punish in the form of corner pressure. So pay attention to his patterns, because if he starts to spin, he can be hit out of it. He doesn't have stage to dash back to because he has to fight for center stage now. Some patterns that Sonic has in the corner are charging spin, which you can hit him out of. Double jump into a spin, which you can hit him out of. That aerial hitbox is kind of ass. He can jump drift back with spin, where he charges it off stage and then lands on stage with it. Again, you can hit him out of that. And spin shot to try to get to center stage, which again goes to the jump thing, where you can hit him out of the startup of spin shot or control that airspace as you see him in the air. All right, that was advantage against Sonic. Any questions before disadvantage? Let me open it up to Twitch chat as well.
First time chat, where's the MAGA hat?
Not today, not today. Halloween has passed. Does Sonic want to be in the corners of spin like Samus charges charge shot? So there's a problem with Samus charging charge shot, which is that she is sacrificing stage to do so, and it travels distance without, you know, her interacting. The problem with Sonic is that he's forced to interact whenever he spins with you. In the corner, it's a more consistent position to punish the startup of a spin, rather than saying, okay, he's in the corner, let me intercept him better, if that makes sense.
I think the only reason Sonic would want to corner himself to spin is if he's specifically playing to not interact with you or timeout.
Yeah.
But if it's a neutral situation, even having spin dash, you don't want to purposefully corner yourself.
Agreed. On that note, let's get into disadvantage against Sonic. So Sonic has a lot of fake combos. We didn't really talk about down tilt, but down tilt is essentially his best poke in neutral. And it's kind of an ass poke in neutral. It only combos into forward air if you don't DI away. If you DI away, I don't care if you're holding ledge, it never combos into forward air. I've labbed it. His forward tilt, it leads to tech chases, so just be ready to tech and you won't get jab locked. As for his forward air, rising forward air is something that Sonic players love to do, and it's not true. If you A-land, and most characters have a specific move to A-land with. A-landing is when you auto-cancel by attacking and fast falling so that you hit the ground before your attack startup comes out. Then you can go into shield, and suddenly he's minus, what was it, 36, 38 on shield. That is a big punish. As for up air, Sonic does like to go for up air 1 into grab. That is a very tight combo that even performed perfectly often isn't true. You can spot dodge out of it and then punish his grab attempt. Up air 1 into 2 is very inconsistent. So if you're ever hit by up air, ever, be ready to buffer fast fall down, so that way you can land and punish his landing afterwards with something like an up tilt, with an up smash. It is such an inconsistent move that people panic shield and just don't know what to do out of. Spring chases are reactable. What a spring chase is essentially Sonic tries up airing you, and then he goes, oh, you're above me, let me spring into an up air to hit you again. You can react to that in air dodge, but I will say that air dodge is the riskier option. Reason for that being, Sonic can read the air dodge and delay that up air. If you jump, remember, Sonic doesn't have a jump in this position, so you can just jump away and he can't necessarily chase you. As for his throws, down throw, people get this wrong all the time. DI down and tech in place. This makes his down throw negative on hit. A lot of Sonics love to do down throw into forward tilt. That is a fake combo. It's not negative on hit like Sonic is -5. It's more like -1 or -2. But if he goes into the startup of a forward tilt that's not reaching you until the frame 8 forward hitbox, you can interrupt them with a fast button such as a down tilt. Sealed is generally safe in this position as well, since Sonic can't get a regrab, and we've seen how ass his frame data is on shield, so that way you can hit him. Up throw doesn't kill until very high percent, but if he does grab you, DI in is optimal. Homing attack. If he goes for a reverse homing attack into a back air, this is kind of a 50-50 between jump and air dodge, but if you play a character with a faster airspeed,
you can DI away after that homing attack and drift away from Sonic, and he can't chase you because of his poor airspeed and air acceleration. His airspeed isn't necessarily poor, but with that distance and with how close the margins are between airspeed, sometimes he just can't reach you for that back air. But there are times where he is able to guarantee that back air, so don't confuse drift away with DI in. So whenever he's able to guarantee that back air, make sure to hold in to not die to it. Spring Ride is whenever Sonic uses spring inside of the opponent's character model, shooting them up into the blast zone. This is fake. It is negative on hit, and you can reversal Sonic with a single up air to kill. Spin Dash and Spin Charge. You almost always want to DI his Sonic spins down and away. This helps to prevent him from extending his combos with homing attack, because homing attack can whiff, and he does the classic Sonic's SC. And if he whiffs that homing attack, he'll be in a position right behind you, and you can back air him and kill. If Sonic does connect that homing attack, make sure to DI that homing attack down and away, since this makes the back air less likely to connect. Now, the caveat to spin DI is if you're hit at ledge at mid to high percents, DI away just puts you closer to the blast zone for forward air to kill. DIing in towards the stage makes it harder for him to connect that forward air during a window, because you get launched higher up and he can't jump as high, and you're closer to the stage, so you're not as likely to die to the forward air. The second caveat is at very high percents, DI away instead of down and away. This keeps combos like spin into nair or spin into up air from connecting, unless he connects the very early hitbox. DI away at very high percents, but normally DI down and away. As for landing, Sonic's juggling game honestly isn't that great. So Sonic is more of a single hit juggler that catches landings, rather than I'm gonna put you in the air over and over kind of character. The way that you get around this is to simply mix up the timing of your landings, because if he expects you to land out one time and punish you with a dash attack or a grab, the timing is gonna vary so much that he doesn't have a read on it. So if you mix up the timing of your fast falls, directional air dodge, or mix it up to a platform, double jump at the last second, empty landing into shield, use a stalling option such as Peach Float or Greninja Water Shuriken, or go to a platform or ledge, Sonic's gonna have to guess a lot more on how to catch your landing. And even if he does, you just take one dash attack and it's whatever. But whenever you do land against Sonic, don't whiff your aerials. I know it can be tempting to want a reversal amount of disadvantage. It's a lot better to go from disadvantage to neutral than disadvantage to disadvantage. It's a lot easier for Sonic to find that extended hit if you whiff an attack and you're in lag. Additionally, be very careful to never jump over Sonic, because this can allow him to chase you with spring into up air and kill at very early percents. As for recovery against Sonic, you want to recover inside the stage and always be ready to tech spring. If you recover into spring diagonally, it'll start to launch you away from the stage. Whereas if you recover into the stage, it'll launch you towards spring. So Sonic can't apply pressure more than once whenever he does spring. Because he goes up, he's sacrificing all his pressure into that single spring. So if you tech, you get a free ledge snap. And whenever you do tech, please tech wall jump into directional air dodge instead of up E. It'll be a great habit to build. The reason that this is so good against spring is because if you tech wall jump into up E, if you have something like Young Link up E, you're kind of floating off stage and you're in this awkward position. Versus if you directional air dodge onto stage, Sonic is landing. You have a juggle. Also, know the up E option select. Whenever you tech spring at low percents, there's often a window where you're like, do I need a tech or will I buffer an air dodge? The way to get around this is to input up E and tech at the same time, and depending on whether or not you're in tumble, you will get the right option to come out. And additionally, aerials are able to deactivate spring's hitbox, so if you have something like a quick up air, you can treat it like Nikita if your options are limited. As for forward air from Sonic, it's often best to respect this move rather than challenging it. It has 30 frames of end lag, so if he misses this forward air once, that's your window to recover. The reason you don't want to challenge it is because it is very fast, and as you can see, significantly disjointed for a move that's frame 5. You can air dodge through it, and if you're in range of ledge, you can directional air dodge to ledge. But if you do air dodge against Sonic and you're drifting into him, always be ready for spring afterwards to tech, because it can often frame trap you. And also know that if he runs off stage into a forward air, he's limited to a diagonal angle, so he can't really cover low. Spring is his best option for covering low, and as we mentioned in the counterplay, that's not as scary as being hit by a forward air and dying at 100. All right, so spin back air. Honestly, maybe this is a hot take, but I feel like Sonic's edge guarding is kind of a matchup check, and if you know it, it's not that bad. The reason that spin back air is so good is because it'll intercept recoveries without hitboxes and combo into that back air for a kill. That's a lie. This move does not combo, and it's often untrue. What actually happens is that a lot of people will tech wall jump and they'll input up B, and up Bs do have startup. So while you're in the startup of your up B, Sonic is able to align and connect that back air. And like that Young Link example I mentioned, if you do manage to get that up B out, you're in a really awkward position where you're suddenly drifting to ledge and you're a sitting duck, Sonic can get a kill on you. So the answer to this is tech wall jump into directional air dodge. This gives you a safe ledge snap, and if you have a frame 2 air dodge, he only has a 1 frame window to hit you. There are times where this can be true, but if you directional air dodge to ledge, you get a free ledge snap. If you directional air dodge to stage, Sonic has the big end lag of his back air, and you can forward smash him out of it. That's really, really strong. But again, there are times where this is a guaranteed combo. So what do you do whenever it's a guaranteed combo? Tech in place is generally your safest way to deal with the move. This allows you to avoid the back air because you're not jumping up into it, and you can just up it a ledge afterwards. I believe Sonic can add an extra layer of counterplay to this by springing afterwards, but that's just when you tech again and then air dodge the stage. It's kind of a matchup check. If you know the matchup check, you shouldn't be getting hit by it. All right, homing attack. Sonic's SDs. So this is a big risk that often isn't used because you die at 0. This is the Surge Classic.
What the fuck?
No. I'm kidding. Recovering low will keep this move from locking onto you. If you do get hit by this homing attack, be ready to DI down and away because that'll make it so that you avoid the back air with optimal DI. As for forward smash, this move is kind of cracked. As you can see, Sonic is like not even in frame. I don't know what the fuck happened with his hands. But yeah, the best way to deal with this move is to mix up your recovery timings so that way he doesn't get a read on the timing. If you do have a projectile, you can throw it at Sonic to throw off his spacing, but do know that this can open you up to forward airs, so do it out of reaction rather than anticipation. And once you avoid that 2 frame, don't take it as a cue to use a get up option because it has very little end lag and he can just forward smash twice. All right, ledge play. So Sonic's Nair covers neutral get up attack, and ledge jump. But if you properly time a ledge roll, you're completely fine against it. This is a really, really interesting Nair because it has 3 hitboxes. It has a sweet spot, it has a sour spot, and it has a sour spot. And that can combo into his back air, so just don't choose one of these 3 options while he's doing it. Remember that Nair does have significant landing lag, so that can allow you to ledge drop into an aerial on reaction. As for his forward smash, Sonic can trade certain coverage options depending on how close he's standing to ledge. If he's at roll distance, it can cover neutral get up, roll, and get up attack. So the answer is to ledge jump, and then you can get a landing aerial on him. But make sure to do that on reaction because we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So don't get up attack after you whiff. Because of its low end lag, you might think, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get up attack him. He has a very big hurt box shift backwards, and then he can forward smash your get up attack afterwards. If he's standing close to ledge, he can trade coverage on get up attack for a small window to cover your jump and potentially hit your ledge stall. This is where get up attack is often best on reaction. So Sonic does have a bit of a ledge 50-50 between his forward tilt and back air. Forward tilt covers every single one of your ground and get up options on reaction from roll distance, and because it covers all of them, you want a ledge jump. It can kill you at high percents, but it's kind of a weird move where if you roll, it doesn't kill you as well because the initial hit overrides the late hit. So roll can work in this position, but it's still not the best. As for his back air, remember, you don't want to give Sonic back air ever. This covers ledge jump and it kills at high percents. And he's actionable before landing for additional cover, so he can back air to cover jump and then back air again to cover a ground and get up, or he can back air to cover a jump. Didn't hit that jump, let me jump into another back air and then land into a back air. Kind of like the super combos without the up airs. So this conditions you into doing ground and get ups. So what the hell do I do here? Is it just a true 50-50? No. If you mix up the timing of your ledge jump by counting in your head, 1, 2, now I'm gonna jump, next time 1 and jump, or just grab ledge jump. Ledge jump is the one get up option that isn't reactable, which means that even though he is using back air to cover that option, the execution and the timing for it can be significantly different. Stalling on ledge depends on your character. Sonic needs to space his attacks to hit ledge stalls, so if he doesn't have that spacing, it can be a little bit tricky for him to walk into position to align a down smash or to align a forward smash. So you can take your time on ledge. And finally, Sonic is the one character in the game that like can't consistently ledge trump. Because he is so damn fast, like it's something crazy like a 2-frame window to ledge trump. I'm sure we all know how tricky ledge trumping is. As Sonic, it's like sometimes impossible. So the answer that is universal for every character in this 50-50 scenario is to ledge jump delayed wave lane. What this means is that you ledge jump and then about 10 frames later, you air dodge down. What this does is if Sonic reacts your get up option and forward tilts, you'll jump above that forward tilt and air dodge down onto stage by the time that the hitbox is gone. If he goes for the back air, you'll jump up into it and then you'll go down onto stage and you'll land, so that way he can't hit you with that back air. This is very solid. It's universal. Anytime a character has a 50-50 ledge trap, someone like Diddy Kong, you can use this option. All right, corner play. This is pretty much the 50-50 part 2. Sonic is able to call out jumps with back air for kills and rolls with forward tilt for kills. Do not jump. Again, we are not trying to give Sonic a kill. Sonic is fishing for back air 24/7, and jumping in the corner is one of his most beloved areas to find it. This back air with the full hop is a commitment, so once he does jump, you can run under Sonic for center stage, and suddenly his kill moves become a lot worse. Roll in with caution. So Sonic is generally reacting to roll in with forward tilt, but forward tilt will generally kill much later than back air. I've had back air kill at 100 and forward tilt only kill at like 160. And even then, there are certain hitboxes like that back hitbox that won't kill you at 200%. Be patient out of the corner is the key. Sonic's poor out of shield can make you attacking out of the corner a viable option. His grounded moves often won't kill you from roll distance, and walking out of the corner can allow you to react with shield because he has to set up things like his aerials. And crouching in the corner leaves you actionable frame 1, and if he does run into you, you crouch cancel and knock back to survive. Now, finally, there is respawn. This is like kind of unique to Sonic and Mega Man. Whenever you respawn, Sonic loves to place spring underneath you, and this is often underneath the angel platform in between socks to make it so that you bounce off of it and you drain your respawn invincibility. The counterplay, just drift away from that bitch and you'll be all right. On tri-flat stages, it can make it forced so that you're forced to land on top of a spring. Something simple to do is land, then wave land off of it. And also, my voice is gone, holy. Sonic can be a little late to set this up, so you can bounce off of the spring and up air him for a stock. This isn't Sonic, but this is me doing it to Mega Man. You can kill him at 0. So as you can see here, Mega Man set up rush. 1 second. And free up air. Before my voice completely disappears, let's go over stages against Sonic. So PS2, this is normally a starter stage, but for Sonic, there are a lot of pros. This is the widest stage in the game, meaning that Sonic can camp more effectively, and his spins will often give up less stage control less often. So the platforms do allow him to extend his combo routes, and they can add an extra layer of mix-up to his directional air dodge between going to a platform or landing on stage. The cons are that the lip of the stage can make it precise for Spring to snap ledge because Spring has a pretty bad ledge grab range that is decently specific. As for Battlefield, this is one of Sonic's worst stages. The platforms can allow for him to extend combo routes, and the opponent is often forced to interact with Spring after respawning. However, the platforms do come at a cost. Most characters can convert off of tri-plats better than Sonic can. Sonic lacks top platform pressure, so if you're up there, you'll almost never have to interact with spins. Spring into downer auto cancel doesn't really work because the platforms all get in the way, and that top platform can block directional air dodge to platform mix-ups because he's forced to land on it. Smashville, another one of Sonic's worst stages. The center platform can allow him to extend his combos from pretty much anywhere on stage, but it is also the smallest stage in the game, which means that anytime Sonic spins pretty much, he's going to be in the corner. And also that center platform makes platform spin counterplay accessible very easily wherever you are on the stage. Town and City. Ban, ban, ban. This is the second widest stage in the game, which means that, again, he's not putting himself into the corner as often for his spins. Sonic can platform camp pretty well. This stage has the smallest side blast zones, which makes things like side B into forward air kill very early. The platforms can allow him to go from corner pressure to relief pressure because now he can reset there after jumping out of a spin. And the FD rotation removes spin counterplay in the form of platforms, and it does make it easier for him to shark landings. So the cons are that the FD rotation makes his landings a little bit worse. Beyond that, it's a pretty solid stage for Sonic. Small battlefield is kind of like PS2 Lite. Platforms allow for extended combo routes and add an extra layer of mix-up on his directional air dodge. Beyond that, it's kind of like middle of the road. Other stages are definitely going to be leaning towards mud.
Is the length of small battlefield versus PS2 so significant that Sonic really needs small battlefield that much more?
I wouldn't say necessarily hates, but he's pretty much always going to pick PS2 over small battlefield. The differences in size, PS2 is 180 units of across distance. Small battlefield, FD, every other stage in our legal list but Smashville is 160 units. In town is 165, so it's slightly bigger.
What's Smashville?
140. As for FD, the platforms do not exist, which means that spin counterplay, it's not common at all, unless you're Steve, I guess. It's easier for Sonic to shark landings, and homing attack doesn't really have to worry about the platforms getting in the way. And Drew actually talked to me about this. The reward off of homing attack is generally a lot better on this stage because on stages like Small Battlefield, a platform can get in the way and Sonic can't up air. On FD, he's getting that up air every time and he's not scrambling. The cons are that Sonic, again, is much more vulnerable to being juggled and frame trapped, and certain combos that don't rely on homing attack get less reward, so he can't chain up airs. Kalos, another ban for you. So I know it looks like there were a lot more cons than pros, but this is a pretty damn good stage for Sonic. The side platforms kind of help to alleviate that corner pressure weakness that we mentioned earlier, and it's a lot easier for Sonic to shark landings at center stage. The cons are that these are the largest blast zones in the game, which make it a little bit tricky for Sonic to kill at times. His forward air is greatly reduced in kill power because the side blast zones are bigger than every other stage. And Sonic can struggle to kill at hypersense because of how wide these blast zones are. The lack of platforms at center stage makes Sonic a lot easier to juggle and frame trap, and he can't really extend off of the platforms too well unless you're in perfect position for him to do so. And the walls, Sonic can't really spring inside of the stage, which he normally likes to do, which means that if he's recovering low, you can often intercept him with a back air. Hollow Bastion, kind of like Smashville, but not as bad. Center platform extends combos, but it also makes for more spin counterplay. So speaking to Drew, this is what we agreed upon to be Sonic's best stages. His best stage, it's kind of back and forth between Town and Kalos. I lean more towards Town being a better stage for him, but honestly, these two are like kind of auto bans against Sonic unless your character just happens to be amazing. PS2 can be a ban/neutral stage, depending on if your character is just awful on another stage like FD. FD can be very volatile for Sonic, whereas Advantage State is very solid, but it also comes at the risk of his disadvantage being worse. So if you're an FD specific character, this is a fine pick. If you're an FD weak character, it is not.
Have you considered that the Sonic main can't pick a Sonic song on Battlefield, Small Battlefield, and Finals?
Oh, damn.
Go live and learn.
I had not considered that. That is a good point. I don't know. Those might just be his best stages now. Afterwards, Small Battlefield is kind of like middle of the road PS2 Lite. Hollow Bastion is Smashville, but not quite as polarizing. Battlefield doesn't really get to use the platforms. His disadvantage kind of gets interrupted. In Smashville, he's sacrificing stage control 24/7. So those are Sonic's stage picks. Now, with that, that is the lecture. So are there any remaining questions that I can answer? I know one question I normally get is, will this be on Canvas? Yes? There is a QR code, so if you want to access this PowerPoint at any time, there you go.
Please be rippable.
Oh, that would have been good. On that note, let's go ahead and wrap things up with everyone's favorite, Kahoot! The C-Stat Anti-Sonic Kahoot. Oh, there are memes, by the way. Like, ignore them and I'll go back to them. What is the most reliable indicator of Sonic using Spin Dash or Spin Charge? Is it the audio that plays during the charge animation? How long Sonic holds the attack for? Whether or not Sonic moves slightly backwards while charging? Or the color Sonic turns once the spin is fully charged? Okay, everyone got it. It is Sonic moving slightly backwards. Good job, guys. Good job. It's a tie? They press it on the same frame, bro. When Sonic uses Spin Charge, he stays in place or moves backwards slightly. Sonic stays in place. Spin Charge in place, Spin Dash backwards. Who has a memory trick for that? You have to leave your phone to charge, but you dash to pick it up. All right. Which type of spin contains invincibility upon release? Is it Spin Dash or Spin Charge? It is Spin Dash that has invincibility. Which of the following is not reliable counterplay against Sonic spins? Using a lingering hitbox or projectile to clank with the spin, intercepting the spin with the lingering aerial, mitigating the spin by shielding or jumping, or using an approaching aerial to hit Sonic out of the spin startup. It is the approaching aerial. Remember, like we just mentioned, Spin Dash is invincible. He will hit your ass. With proper timing, which option will reliably keep homing attack from locking onto its target? Spot dodge, roll, jump, or shield? It is both spot dodge and roll. It doesn't lock on with invincibility. Crush 40 is crushing it. True or false? Spins are negative on shield and can be consistently punished. That is false. Spins are positive on shield and you cannot punish them consistently. What is the most consistent answer when playing the spin RPS against Sonic? Spot dodge, roll in, forward air, back air, or hold shield? It is to hold shield. Which of the following is a weakness of Sonic's out of shield options? Is it its slow startup? Is it that it's often low profiled, limited range, or that Sonic is forced to land afterwards? It is all of the above. Sonic's worst movement attribute is his jump height, fall speed, airspeed, or air acceleration. It is his air acceleration. Which of the following is not a weakness that Sonic has in neutral? Sonic consistently exposes his hurtbox by interacting with the opponent. Sonic is ineffective at playing a keep away game and not interacting. Sonic has limited close and long range options with limited reward. Or Sonic will often sacrifice stage control, putting him into the corner. It is the keep away game and not interacting. Sonic will time your ass out. On what frame does Sonic's air dodge come out? Frame 1, 2, 3, or 4?
How many push-ups can I do in a minute?
2. It is frame 2. What resource does Sonic lose access to after using Spring? Is it his double jump, his special moves, aerials, or air dodge? It is his double jump and special moves. From what height does Sonic need to use Spring from in order to auto-cancel his down air afterwards? Is it grounded height, short hop height, Full hop height or top platform height? It is from full hop height. For Sonic to auto cancel his down air afterwards, that's it. If he wants to act after the down air, it has to be from top platform. When juggling Sonic, it's generally best to pressure his landing from the ground, chase his landing with rising aerials, challenge moves like his down air with up air, or let him land and reset neutral. It's generally best to pressure his landing from the ground. Which of the following is not a weakness Sonic has when landing? Is it his poor air acceleration, high landing lag on aerials, lack of disjointed hitbox, or poor airspeed? It is his poor airspeed. His aerials have at least 10 frames of landing lag each, which make them consistent to punish. His poor air acceleration is bottom 20. His airspeed is top 18.
I'm telling you, these memes are way funnier because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's true, yeah. What is generally the best way to edgeguard Sonic's spring? Hitting Sonic after the spring comes out, hitting Sonic during the startup, 2-framing Sonic as he snaps ledge, or standing directly at ledge for a ledge trap. It is hitting Sonic after the spring comes out. That limits his resources. If you hit him during the startup, he has invincibility. He doesn't get 2-framed. And if you stand directly at ledge, he can B-reverse back air. What is the most reliable way to punish Sonic's directional air dodge to ledge? Timing a lingering aerial to hit Sonic's end lag. Timing a grounded attack to hit Sonic's end lag. Hitting the startup of Sonic's directional air dodge. Or holding stage to ledge trap. Yeah. It is timing a lingering aerial to hit Sonic's end lag. Grounded attacks, remember, he can go under them and suddenly the 2-frame window isn't there. True or false, Sonic has an awful ledge hang, allowing most attacks to hit him for ledge stalling. That is false. Sonic's ledge drop makes us most consistently beat him by lingering hitboxes that intercept the startup of Sonic's attacks, punishing Sonic out of shield, dashing back towards center stage, or ledge trumping into a back air. It is the lingering hitbox. What makes the corner an unfavorable position for Sonic to be in? No stage for him to retreat to, the startup of spins are able to be punished, he has to fight for center stage, or he lacks consistent out of shield options. It is all of the above. They are all bad. What should you do if Sonic connects a rising up air 1 on you? Try to air dodge out of the second hit. Try to jump out of the second hit. Buffer fastball and be ready to punish it for whiffing, or DI up to avoid a heavier punish. Buffer fastball. Up air 1 has set knockback, and it's inconsistent, so you can punish Sonic out of it. Which DI allows you to tech in place and have frame advantage against Sonic's down throw? Up, down, in, or away? It is DI down. How should you almost always DI if hit by a spin from Sonic? Away, in, down and away, or down and in? It is DI down and away. If Sonic connects a spin while you're in the corner, how should you DI? Away, in, down and away, or down and in? It is DI in. In the corner, it is DI in because that means that Sonic will not be able to connect that forward air and kill you. What should you not do when landing against Sonic? Mix up the timing of your landings, retreat to a platform, jump over Sonic, or go to ledge. Jumping over Sonic is bad because he can spring up air you. What should you do when Sonic attempts an edge guard with spring? Recover into the stage and tech the stage spike, deactivate Spring's hitbox with an aerial, recover high onto the stage, or recover diagonally into the spring. You should recover into the stage and tech the stage spike or deactivate it with a hitbox. Recovering onto the stage gets you caught, and recovering diagonally into the spring means that you're going to be hit further off stage. What is the safest option against Sonic spin back air setup off stage? Tech wall jump up B, tech wall jump into neutral air dodge, or tech wall jump directional air dodge, or tech in place. It is tech in place. So tech wall jump uppy puts you in an awkward position and he can catch the startup. Tech wall jump neutral air dodge can potentially get you caught by the backer if it's true. Tech wall jump directional air dodge means that you can potentially get caught or he can just jump on stage and punish it. Tech in place means that back air will not connect. All right, 3 more questions. Which universal option allows characters to play against Sonic's forward tilt back air ledge trap 50-50? Neutral get up, ledge jump, ledge roll, or ledge jump delayed wave land? I think someone just forgot how to play. It is ledge jump delayed waveland. Neutral get up and ledge roll get caught by forward tilt. Ledge jump gets caught by back air. What should you not do when playing out of the corner against Sonic? Jump, shield, crouch, or patiently wait for his option? Jump! Do not give Sonic back air, please. All right, last question of the Kahoot before the prize is announced. What should you do if Sonic places a spring underneath the respawn platform between stocks? Bounce off of it, bounce double jump cancel, drift away from it, or wait for it to despawn? Drift away from it, please. All right, on that note, for the anti-Sonic Kahoot, in 3rd place, we have Knuckles the N. 2nd place, Free Dubs. 1st place, Crush. Is that you, Drew? Let's go. That is a wrap. On that note, that is the anti-Sonic lecture. Thank you all for attending. Takeaway, Sonic's kind of mid. He's all right. All right. Would we be able to get a picture before we dip? All right, we're looking at the blue camera, the webcam. Do not blink in 1, 2, 3. On that note, stream, that is going to do it for the Anti-Sonic lecture. Thank you all for attending. It was great having you all here. Hope you all have a great rest of your nights, and stay tuned for more anti-character lectures. I love making them, so we're going to be back soon. Take care. Bye-bye.